After encountering the Sea Dragon King, Seo Hueol, a conversation unfolds about the true nature of the demon core. Seo Hueol explains that a demon core is the spiritual essence formed by enlightened demon beasts, a catalyst that grants them intellect and the ability to cultivate, while humans, already born with intellect, do not form such cores except in rare hybrids. Seo Hueol mistakes the protagonist for a human-demon hybrid due to the presence of an inner core, something only those at the absolute pinnacle of martial arts possess. Before departing for the Ascension Gate, Seo Hueol gifts a demon beast cultivation manual written in demon script, suggesting a visit to his descendant, Seo Ran, on Utmost Chaos Island to learn the script, since forceful transmission of such knowledge could drive a human insane. Left with the manual, thoughts turned to the origins of martial arts and how techniques were drawn from the movements of beasts, while internal energy methods mirrored those of cultivators. The realization dawns that by studying demon beast methods and their long evolutionary history, new breakthroughs in martial arts might be possible, especially if the demon script can be deciphered and its knowledge shared with Kim Young-hoon. With resolve, recovery of past lives cultivation accelerates on Ascension Path, reaching the 7th star of Ki refining in just 7 years, thanks to deeper understanding and repeated rituals. Upon confronting the familiar heavenly rejection during the 7 stars ritual, determination breaks through the celestial blockade, achieving the 8th star. Over the following 3 years, advancement continues to the 11th star, the stage of 3 talents, prompting changes in the gang sphere. Now splitting into heaven and earth, revolving around the self, representing man. Experiments with the gang sphere follow, achieving only partial success for now. After another year of diligent training, breakthroughs to the 12th and 13th stars follow, reaching the threshold of chi building. With simple formations now at hand and the limit of ki refining reached, plans solidify. Seek out Seo Ran to learn demon script and delve into the demon beast methods, hoping these secrets will unlock the next stage of martial prowess. 11 years after the return, with cultivation restored to the 13th star, the protagonist leaps from Ascension Path, ready to pursue the mysteries of demon beast cultivation. After several days of travel from Ascension Path and with spiritual power at the 14th star of Chi refining, the journey to Byokra is more efficient, free from past hardships like running out of water or wasting time in fruitless searches. Upon entering Cheonseok City, a cultivator named Buk Jung-ho, an external elder of the Gongmyo clan, stops and questions him, using a truth-detecting artifact. Impressed by his talent and rare 5 elements, spiritual roots, Buk Jung-ho tries to recruit him into the clan, promising status and magical artifacts. Politely declining, he insists on remaining a loose cultivator, needing freedom to pursue his own path. Moving on, he heads to the Chungmun clan's territory to participate in their training conference and to meet Chungmun Ryong. At the registration, Chungmun Ryokshin, a formidable key-building elder, recognizes his talent and tries to forcibly recruit him, even going so far as to suggest marrying him into the family. Fleeing the overzealous elder, he manages to escape only after revealing he came to see Chungmun Ryong. Ryokshin relents and arranges the meeting. The reunion with Chungmun Ryong is much as he remembers. The master is blunt but intrigued by the depth of understanding he demonstrates, especially regarding the 72 earthly Sha. True words and the concept of understanding before breakthrough. They spend the night in deep discussion, with Chungmun Ryong eventually expressing a desire to formally take him as a disciple. Gratefully but firmly he refuses, explaining that his obligations make joining any clan impossible. Ryong accepts his decision, albeit with disappointment. On his way out, Chungmun Ryokshin intercepts him again, furious that he would leave after spending so much time with Ryong. Determined to keep such a rare talent in the clan, Ryokshin unleashes powerful spells to capture him, intent on marrying him into the family by force. Using his mastery of gangsphere and quick thinking, he breaks free, evading an escalating pursuit that soon involves multiple chi-building elders and even Chungmun Ryong himself, all unleashing powerful magic to trap him. During the chase, he experiences a profound realization about the nature of the gang sphere and the connections between man, heaven, and earth. Harnessing this insight, he splits the gang sphere, opening new possibilities in his technique, and barely manages to outpace the relentless pursuit, finally reaching the border of Yanguo. There, he bows in gratitude and sorrow toward Chungmun Ryong, recognizing the master's kindness and the pain of severed connections. He knows that the deeper his ties, the more agonizing it would be to lose them to regression, so he chooses freedom over comfort and belonging. Once past the border, the pursuit ends, and he's left with a bittersweet sense of longing and loss, understanding both the allure and the price of true connection. With a heavy heart, he resumes his journey to find Kim Young-hoon. After investigating the current state of power in Yangwoo, it becomes clear that the Mokli clan still holds imperial control, with neither the Jin clan nor Kim Young-hoon having seized the throne yet. Rumors circulate about the emperor and crown prince's mysterious assassinations, which seem to point to Kim Young-hoon, who is now a fugitive rather than aligned with the Jin clan. Seeking to reconnect, the protagonist infiltrates the Jin clan's domain to find the disciples no longer involved in assassination. Instead, scattered and learning the work of mortals, their faces much younger than remembered. Deciding to find Kim Young-hoon, the protagonist deduces his likely hiding place among the mountain forts near Bakju City. Upon arrival, the protagonist observes that everyone is practicing martial arts influenced by Kim Young-hoon's style. Suddenly, an attack comes, but is easily neutralized, leading to a dramatic reunion and sparring match with Kim Young-hoon. The intense battle reveals Kim Young-hoon's astonishing talent, as he instantly creates new martial arts in response to each move, adapting and countering with ever-increasing skill. Despite being outmatched in realm, Kim Young-hoon's monstrous talent and combat intuition shine, even managing to inflict pain and surprise on the protagonist through on-the-spot techniques. After their spar, the two share a brief but warm reunion, with Kim Young-hoon's followers revealed to be reformed bandits. In the days that follow, the protagonist passes on the enlightenment and keys to reach the ultimate pinnacle, confident that Kim Young-hoon will achieve it soon. With his own goals in mind, the protagonist departs for the Black Wind Sea's utmost Chaos Island, a place ruled by the sea dragon, Seo Ran. On the island, the protagonist learns from the villagers about the benevolent sea dragon, who is revered as a guardian spirit. At the western sacrificial altar, the protagonist prepares to meet Seo Ran. As the sea dragon appears, the demon beast method manual given by Seo Whale activates, and Seo Ran's consciousness reaches out, questioning the protagonist's nature. Surprised, the protagonist learns that Seo Ran perceives not just demon blood, but the aura of a demon itself, not simply a human-demon hybrid. The stage is set for the protagonist to begin learning the language and methods of the demon race from Seo Ran, marking the start of a new chapter in his cultivation journey. Bewildered by being called a demon, the protagonist questions Seo Ran, who explains that the true distinction between human and demon is not physical, but lies in consciousness. Invited to observe the world through the eyes of divine consciousness, the protagonist perceives Seo Ran's consciousness as something wholly distinct, noticing the interplay of colors and forms unique to his being. Seo Ran insists that the protagonist's vision, so unlike an ordinary human's, is a clear sign of a demon's consciousness, rooted in perceiving the flow of yin and yang rather than the celestial energy that humans read. As Seo Ran explains the fundamental differences in perception between humans and demons, the protagonist realizes that after an encounter with Seo Whale and the breakthrough involving the gang sphere and the three talents, his consciousness shifted. Focusing intently, he pushes through agonizing pain to awaken to the circulation of heaven and earth's spiritual energy, seeing the world as a living Taiji, the endless interplay of yin and yang. In this moment of enlightenment, he splits his gang sphere into three, embodying heaven, earth, and man, the principle of the three talents, and attains the ultimate pinnacle realm. Seo Ran, intrigued by the transformation, points out the protagonist's anomalous nature, a being with human and demon blood who now possesses a demon's consciousness, something said to be impossible. Grateful for Seo Ran's guidance, the protagonist follows him into the depths of the sea to a coral cave where, thanks to the clarity of his new consciousness, he is able to begin learning the demon race's language. Seo Ran explains that while humans use vocal cords and air, the demon race communicates by shaping spiritual energy, their words conveyed through the very currents of yin and yang. With time, the protagonist adapts to this new mode of communication, learning to understand and eventually speak the demon language. Half a year passes in the cave, and the protagonist masters the demon language and becomes familiar with demon culture. Seo Ran, having fulfilled the king's request to teach, reveals his own need for help. Decades ago, he found a powerful barrier in the Black Wind Sea that can only be broken by combining the powers of human and demon. Trusting the protagonist, he asks for assistance. The protagonist readily agrees, grateful to repay his teacher. Together, they prepare to study the demon beast method given by the Sea Dragon King, a manual titled Summoning Wind, Dragon Transformation, which holds the key to what comes next. After studying the demon beast cultivation method, the differences and dangers compared to human methods become clear. The demon approach is brutal, relying on primal instincts to absorb and forcibly purify mixed spiritual energies, a process that could be fatal for a human. Despite the risk, cultivation advances to the stage where a storm of spiritual power is condensed, but the breakthrough to key building fails, causing a drop in realm. However, this failure brings about a highly purified energy within the inner core, which becomes the foundation for practicing the demon beast method, summoning wind, dragon transformation. By aligning consciousness with the primal instincts of a dragon, a transformation begins, painfully reshaping the body's meridians to adapt to the method. Enduring excruciating pain and disharmony from using a demon beast technique as a human, cultivation continues with determination, seeking a new path to chi building. A year of seclusion on a rocky island passes. The island is torn apart by the violent forces unleashed during cultivation, culminating in the successful mastery of summoning wind, dragon transformation. With this power, the wind is summoned and controlled in a manner reminiscent of the Mockley clan spells, raising questions about the connection between this demon beast method and the Mockley clan's arts. Both storm-related, both tied to dragons, yet with a crucial difference in aura and wildness. With the basics of the technique finally grasped, a decision is made to head to the mainland and search for traces of the Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder sect, rather than return immediately to Seoran. Using the new wind ability, flight to Shengzi commences, but trouble quickly arises when local cultivators accuse of violating flying restrictions and demand a hefty fine. Unable to pay and unwilling to submit, the Mockley clan identity is invoked and demonstrated with the wind technique, intimidating the local cultivators and allowing for an escape. A chase ensues as the local cultivators attempt to trap and capture the supposed Mockley clan elder. Forced to use wind and sword energy to escape, there is a dangerous expenditure of spiritual power, pushing the limits of the current cultivation. Blood is coughed up from overexertion, but the pursuit is finally shaken by using earth techniques to hide underground, taking advantage of local prejudice against the Mockley clan to slip away unnoticed. After months of hiding, the journey leads to Shattered Heaven Peak, where the archive containing the records of the Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder sect finally found. The door creaks open, and the next step in the search for the sect's secrets and their connection to the Ascension Gate begins. Inside the deserted archive of the Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder sect, the remnants are few, just a handful of books left behind after the sect and its treasures ascended to the higher realms. Navigating the lingering formations with the help of clues from Jin Byuk-ho, the protagonist searches for secrets about the sect's founder, Yang Sujin, and the mysterious Ascension Gate. The history found echoes, stories already known, though new details stand out. Yang Sujin ascended, returned after 3,000 years, and ultimately vanished, leaving behind enigmatic words about finding home in the heart. The archive also preserves a warning from Yang Sujin to read a stele inscribed with thunderclouds before ascending, though the complete message is lost to time. The last book holds a minor technique, the lightning predicting eye, which seems trivial compared to the grand legacies expected. Disappointed but pragmatic, the protagonist chooses to remain at Shattered Heaven Peak, drawn by its exceptionally dense spiritual energy to attempt breaking through to the key building stage. The process is grueling. Repeated attempts to condense the spiritual cloud into a spiritual star result in failure and pain, as the five element spiritual roots introduce countless subtle changes that must be stabilized all at once, far more than most cultivators ever face. Despite setbacks and the temptation of using chi building pills, the protagonist refuses, knowing their forbidden origin. Each failure refines his internal power, but progress is painfully slow. Drawing on demon beast techniques and martial insights, he experiments with the gang sphere, striving for the mental acceleration needed to process the myriad changes during chi building. Connection between demon beast methods and martial arts hints at a possible synergy, though their paths remain fundamentally distinct. Eventually, realizing further attempts would only yield diminishing returns, he decides to seek out Kim Young-hoon, intending to teach him the demon senses and summoning wind, dragon transformation technique, in hopes it will inspire them both. Reuniting in Yanggul, the two spar, testing their growth. The protagonists focus on technique and Kim Young-hoon's speed, create an intense match, but once the speed gap closes, weaknesses emerge. After a decisive exchange, Kim Young-hoon reveals he, too, can split his gang sphere. though the principles behind their methods differ. This divergence in enlightenment deepens the protagonist's curiosity, leading him to press Kim Young-hoon for the secret of his realization, eager to understand a new path to martial mastery. As the conversation between the two martial artists deepens, Kim Young-hoon reflects on the nature of enlightenment at the ultimate pinnacle, recognizing that true understanding is unique to each individual. He demonstrates his realization by manipulating the gang spheres, revealing that, for him, the core of his power stems from the relationships that shaped him, most notably, the bond with his parents and family. The emergence of a third gang sphere marks his profound insight, but this achievement is tinged with sorrow, as he confesses that all his martial accomplishments are meaningless compared to his longing to see his family again. After a silent pause, the two shift the discussion back to martial arts. Kim Young-hoon explains his principle of endless circulation within intent, while his companion relates it to the eternal interplay of yin and yang, recognizing a common thread in their different approaches. Encouraged by the possibility of their insights complementing each other, one teaches the other to perceive the taiji, the dynamic balance of yin and yang as perceived by the demon race. Kim Young-hoon is quickly able to grasp this new sensation, stabilizing his three gang spheres and even hinting at the potential to increase their number. They discuss the limits of human martial achievement, agreeing that the number of gang spheres a person can control is ultimately capped, most likely between 8 and 10, and that even sharing insights cannot break this fundamental limit. Despite this, the sharing of enlightenment brings inspiration and renewed determination. The conversation turns to the legendary record of surpassing path in martial arts, and whether it is possible to transcend his teachings by integrating demon-beast martial methods. Kim Young-hoon cannot promise success, but is eager to try, and so the two spend their remaining time together as teacher and student, exchanging knowledge of both human and demon martial arts. Kim Young-hoon's progress accelerating, nearly reaching his previous life's level. They part ways with mutual encouragement to pursue even greater height. The protagonist then keeps his promise to Seo-ran, who awaits him at the sea. Seo-ran invites him onto his back, explaining that they are headed to a stormy barrier in the ocean, where a discarded divine artifact from the human Blackbone Valley sect, the fabled Nether Crossing ship, awaits, shrouded within treacherous waves and ominous energy. Together they plunge into the heart of the violent storm. Seo-ran and the protagonist journey across the sea beneath dark, stormy clouds, searching for the legendary Nether Crossing ship. Although the ocean seems normal to the naked eye, demonic perception reveals a complex series of barriers. Seo-ran easily pierces the first illusion, but the second barrier, a thick, eerie sea mist teeming with chilling, yin energy, forces them to proceed in silence to avoid being swarmed by ghosts. Despite their caution, the ghosts sense their presence, mistaking Seo-ran for a very big ghost, and the entire barrier erupts in chaos as red lights, ghostly eyes swarm toward them. Seo-ran bursts upward through the barriers, eventually breaking into a bizarre, gravity-defying region where a massive well of seawater surrounds the legendary ship. Within this protected zone, the protagonist is able to pass through the final barrier with ease due to his human lineage, while Seo-ran is kept out by ghostly flames. Inside, the protagonist pulls out 8 spiritual flags to dissipate the protective seal, allowing Seo-ran to join him. Seo-ran explains that the ship, once fiercely guarded by Black Ghost Valley, is now only lightly protected since its defenders have ascended to higher realms. He reveals the ship's tragic history. Once, the insane but terrifying Mad Lord destroyed one of the 3 Nether Crossing ships during a war, killing 2 heavenly being elders and crippling Black Ghost Valley's dominance. The defeat left the valley weakened, their fleet reduced, and their once great territory diminished. Together, they board the ruined ship. The interior is astonishingly vast, far bigger on the inside than its exterior suggests, filled with pavilions, ghost statues, and wooden buildings. As they search for an artifact containing the Sea Dragon tribe's energy, they trigger mechanical traps left by the Mad Lord, unleashing waves of wooden puppets. Fighting side by side, they smash through the obstacles, descend deeper, and encounter increasingly oppressive ghostly energy. Seo-ran uses a powerful exorcist bell to ward off the worst of the mental assaults, and the protagonist compresses his consciousness into the form of a sea dragon to resist further. As they descend to the lowest deck, a suffocating darkness and silence overtakes them. Suddenly, a terrifying presence speaks, a great ghost, likely the lingering spirit of a slain, heavenly being Cultivator. It notices the protagonist's many layers of death and questions their purpose, unleashing a chilling pressure that nearly crushes them. Seo-ran's bell momentarily dispels the threat, and they dash for the upper decks as the spirit mocks Seo Ran's royal lineage, suggesting even the Sea Dragon King has abandoned him. As they flee, a wave of yin energy surges after them, the ghost rage echoing through the ship, and they realize their only hope is to outrun a disaster that still wields core formation strength within its haunted domain. As darkness closes in, countless ghostly hands reach out, attempting to seize them in midair. Swiftly weaving through the air using Mountain Lord's soaring flight, one manages to avoid all the grasping hands, while Seo Ran, hampered by his size, must burn away the ghostly limbs with the destructive power of his golden bell. Their escape is short-lived, as the shattered puppets they left behind reassemble and launch themselves in pursuit. The pair fights back fiercely. Sword Gang slices through the onslaught, and Gang spheres and torrents of blue breath open a path through the rising tide of ghostly energy. They surge upward, chased by sticky black fog and the overwhelming pressure of a core formation level ghost spirit. As they near the exit, the nether-crossing ship itself stretches out monstrous hands, and the ghost spirit's voice accuses them of daring to covet treasures of the Azure Ghost Valley, vowing to prevent their escape. Seo Ran, refusing to relinquish his hard-won Dharma treasure, breaks free by unleashing a surge of golden Gang Chi. With a hint, the two coordinate. Blades of wind and a final burst of power carry them through the barrier and into the sea, where exhaustion overtakes Seo Ran. Realizing the danger of lingering in the demon-infested waters, the survivor uses summoning wind, dragon transformation to hoist Seo Ran out of harm's way, only to reflect on the limitations of his own water-based cultivation. After they emerge into sunlight and safety, Seo Ran regains consciousness but reveals his deep frustration. This raid failed, but he cannot give up on the treasure he seeks inside the haunted ship, a goal as vital as life itself. He vows to empower his golden bell further and asks for help in 10 years' time. The promise is made not just out of gratitude, but from a sense of shared debt and understanding. Left alone, the survivor ponders the mysteries of his soul, how ghosts call him a great ghost, and remark on his death-shrouded soul. The Azure Ghost Valley's name is unfamiliar, possibly tied to the secrets of the Black Ghost Valley. For now, there is nothing more to do but grow stronger. He heads to Yangguo to meet Kim Young-hoon and find a way to break through to the key building stage. Settling near Yensen City after clearing out local bandits, he dedicates himself to mastering the water-surpassing path essential for future sea journeys. Building on his earlier Earth-based cultivation, he finds the water path surprisingly accessible, especially given his understanding of the earthly fiend, True Words. After a year, his water cultivation nears the second star of key refining, and his ability to recover spiritual power improves as the elemental energies complement each other. This discovery brings hope. Faster recovery allows for more attempts at breakthrough. 4 years pass in training. The water surpassing path reaches 4th star, and he stabilizes his use of 4 gang spheres. Finally, Kim Young-hoon visits, but his face is clouded with frustration. Despite achieving the legendary ultimate pinnacle, manifesting 9 orbiting gang spheres, he finds himself blocked, unable to discern the way forward. The so-called ultimate pinnacle, once only a theoretical realm, is now the end of a path with no guidance beyond it, leaving him feeling isolated and desperate. No matter the skills mastered or methods studied, no direction presents itself for what lies beyond. The survivor feels unqualified to offer advice, still struggling in the lower reaches of Ultimate Pinnacle, and can only listen to Kim Young-hoon's despair. Kim Young-hoon then warns him about the summoning wind, dragon transformation technique which forcibly alters the human soul into a dragon's form, dangerous and unnatural for humans, causing a burdensome strain on the soul. There's a reason, he says, that demon beast methods aren't meant for humans. The survivor quietly accepts this, reflecting on the notion that perhaps humans have their own proper form of consciousness, one not meant to mimic dragons. Kim Young-hoon brings up a significant issue with the demon beast method, prompting a deep discussion about the next step in cultivation. He demonstrates a new discovery. By compressing his consciousness into the form of his fist, he can drive it into solid rock without using any internal energy, instead activating the body's basic chi through sheer will. Though this resembles the demon beast method, Kim Young-hoon senses it may lead down a path distinct from traditional martial arts, causing him uncertainty. Both agree there's a need for more demon beast methods to compare, but such techniques are rare. They continue to exchange insights, Kim Young-hoon focusing on applying cultivation knowledge to martial arts, while years pass with their regular discussion. Meanwhile, training in the valley, spiritual energy from the water surpassing path flows with increasing strength, bringing the protagonist to the ninth star of key refining. This mastery of water, alongside earth, allows spiritual recovery at an accelerated rate, though the full benefits remain unclear until more elements are incorporated. Suddenly, a cultivator from the Jin clan appears, following Kim Young-hoon's trail. The protagonist, hiding but leaving traces of water, energy, is discovered and challenged. The Jin clan cultivator, arrogant and intent on causing trouble for Kim Young-hoon, proposes a bet. If he wins, he learns a technique. If he loses, he must keep the protagonist's presence secret and stop bothering Kim Young-hoon. The duel begins, pitting the protagonist's pure chi refining spells against the Jin clan's artifacts and innate ability. Despite the opponent's fiery attacks and magic artifacts, the protagonist overwhelms him using only basic spells, mastery, and a deep understanding of earth and water techniques. Ultimately, the Jin clan cultivator's strongest attack is neutralized by a sudden water spell, and his formation is shattered. Defeated, he promises to keep the secret. Reflecting on the battle, the protagonist realizes that mastering multiple elemental paths not only increases spiritual recovery rate, but might eventually allow repeated attempts at chi building. Inspired by this revelation, he resolves to fully master all 5 elemental cultivation paths, believing relentless effort is the only way for someone without genius to reach the next realm, even if it takes a lifetime.